Hey guys, I was talking this morning with my son as we were kind of reading through some scripture together, and I was reading from the story in Genesis 37, but I wanted to give him a quick summation to kind of give him the backstory and make sure he was remembering what brought us to that place and how Joseph came about. And as I was sharing with him and kind of backing up all the way from Abraham and Sarah and Isaac and Jacob and what happened with Jacob and Esau, and then what happened with Jacob and Rachel and Leah, and how Joseph actually came about and how he became the favored son. I caught myself really kind of telling him over and over again about all the many places of dysfunction that we see in the scripture, in the lineage of Jesus, and in the establishment of the nation of Israel. And him and I just started having a really great conversation about how God is a God of grace and how God had a plan for the nation of Israel and how he had a plan to prosper them and he had a plan for them to multiply, and that Abraham should be the father of many nations. And despite the dysfunction, this is what I want you to hear me saying, despite the dysfunction, the sovereign blessing, the sovereign covenant, the sovereign will of God still prospered. And I just felt like that was so encouraging, and so encouraging for so many people today who allow the dysfunction of our past, maybe you're allowing the dysfunction of your present to really define where you're going, or you feel like it has stolen or made you no longer adequate or, just good enough for the blessing and for the growth and the multiplication and the prosperity of the kingdom. And so God has designed every single one of us that we would be fruitful and we would multiply. That has been the plan of God from the very beginning. And despite the dysfunction that we see in the patriarchs, in so much of even the genealogy of Jesus and the lineage of all the patriarchs, it just doesn't matter because God's plan prevails. And so I want to encourage you with the reminder of the blessings and the things that God has promised you in your life. And do not allow the dysfunction, because we all have a level of dysfunction, let's be honest. We all have our own dysfunction in some form or fashion, but your dysfunction does not define you. It is only the person of Jesus Christ, the identity that God has written over you, the plan that God has in mind for you, the purpose that God has woven into you is what defines you. And so I just want to speak against the dysfunction that would come alongside you and tell you that you are disqualified for the fullness of the kingdom, that you are disqualified for your blessing, or you've been disqualified for your promise, because those are straight up lies from the pit of hell. And so I just speak against those. Read through Genesis. Recognize, oh my gosh, these guys lied, they deceived, they cheated, they operated in fear, they were all kinds of dysfunction. And be encouraged that despite the dysfunction, the people were not disqualified. So I want you to know that. Listen, just say that to yourself right now. My dysfunction does not disqualify me for the blessings of God. That is what I want you to hear in this video. Remember, enforcing purpose, it starts with you.